Have you ever woken up in the dead of night, heart pounding, eyes wide open? You glance at the clock, 3 o'clock, the witching hour, the devil's hour. I used to laugh at those stories, not anymore. There's a reason people fear this hour. They say the veil between worlds is thin, so thin, you could poke right through. Sometimes something on the other side pokes back. It starts with a sound, a knock, a tap, a scratch. You tell yourself it's the wind, an animal, the house settling, but deep down, you know it's not. Something is waiting. I'm telling you this so you'll be ready. You might think you're safe, alone, but you're never truly alone at 3 in the morning. There are things that listen in the silence, things that watch from the shadows. They wait for a sign, a single mistake. And that mistake always starts with a knock. Listen closely. This isn't just a story, it's a warning. I heard the knock. I didn't know what to do. Whatever you do, no matter how curious you are, remember this. When you hear that knock in the dead of night, pretend you don't. Stay in bed, be silent. Because if you don't, you'll learn what I learned. Some doors should never ever be opened. The truth is cold and sharp, waiting in the dark. At 3 o'clock, the world changes. And if you answer, you invite it in. So when the knock comes, don't move. Don't even breathe. I wanted silence. The city was too loud, too crowded, too much. So I left. I found a cabin deep in the woods, my own kingdom of quiet. My only companion was Buster, my golden retriever. We hiked by day, sat by the fire at night. The silence was perfect. The cabin was old, sturdy, with thick doors and big windows. During the day, sunlight filled the rooms. At night, the windows turned black, reflecting my own nervous face. Sometimes I felt like the forest was watching me. For months, everything was peaceful. I had my quiet, my dog, my solitude. I thought I was safe, locked away from the world, but I forgot about the night. Even in perfect silence, something always waits. They listen. They wait for the right time. And that time is always 3 o'clock in the morning. I built my walls high, locked my doors tight. I thought I was king of my silent castle, but I was wrong. The night has its own rules. And in the silence, something was listening, waiting for its invitation, waiting for me to make a mistake, waiting for the knock. It was a Tuesday, the wind howled, the moon was gone, I'd locked every door, Buster curled by the fire. I climbed to my loft, pulled the covers up and drifted off. Then, knock, knock, knock. Heavy, deliberate, not the wind, not a branch. My heart froze. I checked my phone. 3 o'clock exactly. Who could be out here in the woods at this hour? Buster whined, a sound I'd never heard from him before. Pure terror. He pressed himself to the floor, growling at the door. My brave dog was scared. That scared me more. I stayed still, barely breathing. The wind moaned, the cabin creaked, but the knocking was real. Maybe it was my imagination. Maybe not. Buster knew. I knew. Something was out there, and it wanted in. I tried to convince myself it was nothing, but the fear was real. The knock echoed in my mind. I didn't move, I didn't answer. I waited, hoping it would go away, but the night was just beginning. The knock was only the start. I could feel it. Something was watching, waiting for me to make a move. The silence after the knock was worse than the sound itself. I clung to the hope it would end, but deep down I knew it wouldn't. Not at 3 o'clock. I lay frozen, every muscle tense, listening. Silence stretched on. Maybe it was over. I almost believed it, until the knock came again. This time, from the back door. Knock, knock, knock. The back door led to a drop-off, no path, no way for anyone to be there. It was instant, front to back, as if it had teleported. Buster went wild, barking at the kitchen door, fur bristling. The knocking was slower now, patient, almost playful. It was enjoying this, playing a game. And I was the only other player. I crept to the edge of the loft, peering down. Buster barked, but the knock drowned him out. Then silence again. I scanned the room, heart racing. The next knock came from the window. Tap, 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 right on the glass. My blood ran cold. It was moving around the cabin faster than any person could. It wanted me to know it was there. It wanted me afraid, and it was working. The game had only just begun. I couldn't move. The tapping on the window grew louder. Buster whimpered, backing away, eyes wide with fear. Something was looking in. I forced myself down the ladder, drawn to the window by a terrible curiosity. I crept across the floor, keeping low, barely breathing. I peeked over the sill and saw it. A face, pale as bone, pressed against the glass. Wide, dark eyes drank in the darkness, and it smiled. A mouth full of too many, too sharp teeth. Not a happy smile, a hungry one. I gasped, stumbling backward. The face vanished, but the image burned into my mind. That smile, those eyes. I scrambled away, heart hammering. The tapping stopped, but then, a new sound. A whisper, soft and hissing from all around me. I pressed myself against the wall, shaking. The whispering grew, filling the room. I wanted to run, but I couldn't move. The face was gone, but its presence lingered. The cabin felt smaller, colder. The whispering wrapped around me, tightening. I realized I was trapped. The game was over. Now it wanted in. The smile haunted me, even with my eyes closed. I knew it was still out there, waiting for me to open the door, waiting for me to answer, waiting for me to let it in. The whispers slithered through the room, soft at first, then louder. I couldn't block them out, they were inside my head. Buster whimpered, hiding his face. The voices formed words. Let us in. Dozens of voices swirling around me, so cold, so lonely. Just open the door. I looked at the door. My hand twitched, reaching for the bolt. The whispers grew louder, more demanding. I was about to let them in. I fought back, digging my nails into my palms, desperate to stay in control. The whispers laughed, cold, dry, triumphant. Then a metallic click from the front door. The iron bolt slid back, all on its own. No one touched it. It moved with a grinding screech. The whispers chanted, "Open, open, open." The bolt freed the door. Freezing air swept in, killing the last embers in the fireplace. The cold was unnatural, heavy, suffocating. The whispers stopped. Silence fell. The door creaked open, revealing a darkness blacker than night. I couldn't breathe, couldn't scream. The door swung wider as if welcoming a guest. The cold poured in, thick with the smell of decay. Something was coming. Something had been invited. The invitation was accepted. I was powerless to stop it. The darkness crossed the threshold. The cabin was no longer mine. The rules had changed. The night had won. I was no longer alone. The door closed behind them. I sat paralyzed, staring at the open doorway. Shadows unfolded, drifting into my cabin, tall, thin, moving like smoke. They ignored me, ignored Buster, gliding through the room. They explored, silent and cold. One presence knelt before me. I felt its ancient curiosity. A whisper echoed in my mind. "Thank you, it is so much warmer in here." Something cold touched my cheek, a gesture of ownership. Then it was gone, joining the others. The door shut with a soft click. The cold remained, a permanent guest. The shadows danced around me. I was a prisoner in my own home, a forgotten object in their new world. The night was over, but the terror had just begun. I would never be alone again. The silence was broken forever. Morning came, gray and cold. The room was empty, but the cold lingered. The door was bolted. Buster slept peacefully. For a moment I hoped it was a nightmare. Then I saw the footprints, long, narrow, inhuman, already fading. The cold clung to everything. On the window, a handprint with too many fingers. Days and nights blur together now. I still live in the cabin, I still have Buster, but something is wrong. My reflection seems off, my smile too wide, my eyes too dark. Sometimes I find myself at the door at night, hand on the bolt, with no memory of getting up. My voice sounds strange, like dry leaves. I'm telling you this while I still can, while I remember being me. They are patient, they are quiet, but they are here, in the walls, in the shadows, in my head, waiting for something. It all started with that knock. So please, if you ever hear it, knock, knock, knock. At 3:00 a.m. Do not answer, do not move, do not even breathe. Never ever answer the knock at 3:00. You might not be letting something in. You might be letting yourself out. The silence is never empty. The darkness is never alone. And some invitations can never be taken back. Remember my warning. The devil's hour is real. and it's always waiting.